The first time I saw the man in the corner of the room, I was rocking my baby daughter Emma to sleep in her nursery. I had the lights off to help Emma sleep, with only the pink glow of the heart-shaped sound machine brightening the room. I was nodding off to the artificial rain sounds when I noticed something unusual in my peripheral vision. At first, I mistook the shape for just a shadow. I realized after a moment that I was looking at a strange man standing in my daughter's bedroom. I shot up from the rocker and pulled Emma to my chest. "Who are you?" I shouted. "What are you doing here?" Emma began to cry. I backed out of the room, keeping the man in sight the entire time. He was dressed in a tattered suit and stood facing the wall in the corner of the nursery. I couldn't make out many other details in the dark, so I reached back with the hand not clutching my daughter and pawed for the switch. The lights came on at the same moment that my wife Valerie burst through the door. "What's wrong?" she asked, eyes darting around the room until they landed upon Emma, safe in my arms. When I turned on the lights, I had half expected the corner of the room to be empty, but the man was still there in his gray, disheveled suit staring at the wallpaper. He had an average height and build. His hair was dark but flecked with gray. "Who are you?" I yelled again, handing Emma to my wife and putting myself between them and the home invader. "John," Valerie asked, her voice a scared rasp. "Who are you talking to?" I half turned my head, trying to watch everyone at once. Valerie, the man in the corner, What man?" I looked at her for a moment and then back to where the stranger had been standing. He was gone. The corner was empty. I searched the nursery while Val and Emma stood and watched. "I must have dozed off while rocking Emma," I told my wife. "And I guess I had a bad dream that followed me when I woke up." She put a hand on my forehead, feeling for a fever. "Okay. I know you've had a lot going on at work lately, too. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. I've got Em tonight. You go get some rest, okay?" I smiled and agreed and went to lie down, but I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I was up all night watching the shadows in the bedroom. The second time I saw the man was a week later while I was at work. I was sitting in my office, staring blankly at a spreadsheet, when I thought I saw something twitch around the edge of my monitor. When I peered over, I saw the man once again, standing in the corner of the room. He was still facing the wall, but kept turning just enough that I could make out his profile. "Who are you?" I demanded, trying to hide the waver in my voice. "What do you want?" The man in the ill-fitting suit didn't answer, but he did turn a little farther so that I could see half of his face. There was something familiar about his features, but I did not recognize him as anyone I knew. His one eye that I could see was small and set in a deep brow. His nose seemed slightly crooked, like it had been broken before and badly set. His chin was sharp, and his lips were full and red, open just enough to show a skyline of crooked teeth. "What? Hello?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. There was a sick, growing tightness in my chest, and I saw that my hands were beginning to shake. The man in the corner's presence felt wrong, like a wasp landing on a birthday cake. "Get out of here," I yelled, standing up. "Get the hell out of here, whoever you are." The man turned back to face the wall, but I thought I caught the barest movement from his lips first. Then he was gone. There was no flash or dimming of lights, no motion, nothing. One moment the strange man was there, and the next he wasn't. 2 seconds later, the door to my office opened, and Carol, my secretary, leaned in. "Everything okay in here?" she asked. "Yeah. Yes. Sorry, was I loud? We just thought we heard some yelling. Sorry. I saw a spider. Big one. Kinda freaked me out." Carol smiled. "Want me to call maintenance?" No, that's okay. I think I got it." The third time I saw the man in the corner, I was sitting in church with Valerie and Emma. I was a bit bored by the sermon, and found myself gazing at the nearest stained glass window. The window showed Jesus carrying his cross on the way to his crucifixion. He was being jeered at by a colorful crowd made of red, yellow, and blue shards of glass. Some movement behind the altar caught my eye, causing me to turn from the window. It was the man in the old suit. He stood near the front of the pews next to the wall. This time, he was facing me, and I again grappled with the feeling of knowing the man without recognizing him. We were sitting 4 rows from the front, maybe 15 or so feet from where the stranger was standing. "Valerie," I whispered, just loud enough to be heard above the hum of the sermon. "Do you see the man standing there?" My wife gave me a confused look and turned to where I was nodding. "Do you mean the usher? I think that's Frank Darbin. Frank is sitting down. Look at the man standing up." "Where?" "There!" I hissed, pointing to the man with the beady eyes. "Right there!" "Ben, calm down," Valerie whispered. "People are looking." A few of our neighbors in the surrounding pews were clearly side-eyeing me following the outburst, but I didn't care. "Val, are you telling me you don't see a middle-aged guy in a dirty suit standing right there? Stop stabbing your finger in the air, Ben. I don't see who you're talking about." I dropped my hand. "Valerie, please look closely. He's staring right back at us." "Ben, lower your voice." "I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry. I don't see anyone standing over there." And she was right. When I looked again, there wasn't anyone there. Just Frank Darbin and his family looking back at us. At me. The 4th time I saw the man was at Emma's first birthday party. It was a small celebration. Just family and friends and a few people from church. I was recording Valerie helping Emma cut the cake when I saw the man at the edge of my camera. I looked up from my phone and found him standing 2 steps behind my wife and daughter. "How did you get in here?" I shouted, moving toward the table and the cake. Val, you and Emma, move back." Everyone in the room was staring at me, including the man in the old suit. "Ben, sweetie, what's wrong?" Val asked. Emma started to cry. I pointed at the man. "You can't tell me you don't see him. Valerie, you can't tell me that." The room was silent, other than my daughter sobbing. People shifted uncomfortably. George Cohen was standing next to the stranger, and must have thought I was pointing at him. I think everyone can see me, Ben," he said, giving me a stupid grin. "And, well, you caught me. I was sneaking closer so I could get the first slice of cake." There was some nervous laughter. "Not you, George," I spat. Him. This weird..." I trailed off. The man was gone again. Valerie gently led me to a quiet corner of the living room. "Why don't you lie down for a bit, Ben?" she suggested. "I can handle the party cleanup and everything." "I'm not crazy, Val," I said, tears threatening my eyes. "I swear I'm not." "I don't think you're crazy. just stressed. Go lie down. Please. It's all okay. I gave Emma a kiss on her forehead, and then meekly went back to the bedroom. It was still afternoon, but dark with the curtains drawn. I didn't bother opening them or turning on the lights before slipping into bed. I didn't even take off my clothes. After a few minutes and my eyesight adjusted, I saw a familiar shadow in the corner of the room. "Who are you?" I whispered. "Why are you doing this?" The shadow didn't answer. It was gone after a short while, and I was alone in the dark. I didn't get any sleep. The fifth time I saw the man was at my doctor's office. There was no mistaking that the stranger was watching me now, staring back at me with his little eyes and broken nose. Dr. Renner didn't see the man, even though he was practically standing over the doctor's shoulder. "I'd like to give you something to help with what's going on," Renner told me, "and I have a referral for you." "There's nothing that can help me," I replied. The man in the corner smiled. The sixth time I saw the man was in my office again. There was a lot more shouting than the first time he visited me at work. Too much to blame it on a spider. Security came by after I threw my chair into the wall. They didn't see the man either. The seventh time I saw the man, we were staying with Valerie's parents for the weekend. Val thought a family vacation would be good for us, even if money was starting to get tight. The stranger appeared during dinner. Not in the corner, but standing at the table between Val and Emma. I did my best to ignore him. I stayed in the conversation, and I smiled, and I ate, and I barely glanced at the uninvited guest. The man's smile grew wider as the dinner continued, showing off bad teeth as misaligned as a folded mountain range. At the end of the dinner, as my mother-in-law was bringing in dessert, Emma began to cough. She'd been eating small bites from my plate and Valerie's. Now she was choking, seemingly on nothing. We gave her water, we patted her back, we opened her mouth and shined a flashlight down her throat, but saw nothing. And still she choked. "Are you doing this?" I shouted at the smiling man standing next to my wife. "Why are you hurting her? Stop! Stop it!" "Valerie didn't do anything," my father-in-law snapped back at me, looking aghast. "Not Val, him! 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 Him!" But the man was gone. Emma stopped choking. Valerie was looking at me with a wounded expression that made me want to die. The eighth time I saw the man was in my therapist's office. He reached out one dirty hand like he wanted to touch her. I knew that I couldn't let him. The ninth time I saw the man was in the corner of the cell. Smiling almost sadly, he waited with me until Valerie arrived. The 10th time I saw the man was in my hotel room. When I saw him in the corner of the small room, I turned around and went to walk the city for the rest of the night. I returned to the hotel around dawn, just to find the man close to where I'd left him hours before. He had only moved a few feet. I'm not sure how I slept with him standing at the foot of the bed, but I guess I must have fallen asleep at some point. The last time I saw the man was during my visit with Val and Emma. The visit was going well, even with Val's parents hovering around us. It was the first time I'd held my baby daughter in weeks. She fell asleep in my arms, and for a moment, it all seemed like a bad dream. When I noticed the man watching us, I started to cry. I couldn't help myself. Valerie took Emma back once I began shaking. My wife was crying nearly as hard as I was. I tried to breathe and to make the tremors stop, but they only got worse when I saw what the man was doing. He wasn't looking at me anymore. Now, his small eyes followed my daughter, his yellow smile stretching wider. Just before Valerie took Emma from the room, I noticed that my daughter was staring at the stranger. She looked terrified. I began to scream.
Become a channel member today for early access, bonus videos, and special emojis only available to members. Check out the description below or click the join button for more info. If you'd like another way to help support the channel, please consider joining my Patreon page at patreon.com/JordanGrupeHorror. As a patron, you'll get access to bonus videos and content. You'll be credited at the end of every video going forward, and if you decide to stay for 3 months, I'll name a character after you which will be featured in a Hollow's End story. Links to join the Patreon are in the description. Thanks everyone for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment to help the channel continue to grow. And see you again next time at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you have a great night.